Referee for tonight's game is Les Stalmick. Assistant referees for tonight's game are Cameron Blanchard and Tom Felice. The fourth official for tonight's game is Michael Radchuk. The starting 11 for Real Salt Lake, Arizona. Number 1, Luis Barraza. Number 21, Aaron Herrera. Number 4, Eric Holt. Number 6, Danilo Acosta. Number 9, Diego Silva. Number 44, Adolfo Avale. Number 10, Jose Hernandez. Number 8, Amar Sadic. Number 22, Edgar Duran. Number 11, Damian Herman. And number 2, Tate Schmidt. The Chicago Fire starting 11. Number 98, Sawyer Jackman. Number 8, Peter Strop. Number 9, Mauricio Pineda. Number 58, Jacob Graber. Number 12, Michael Jimenez. Number 16, Joseph Lee. Number 17, Cameron Lindley. Number 38, Georgi Mihalovich. Number 10, Andrew Gutman. Number 19, Oscar Gonzalez. Number 6, Ryan Sierakowski. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hat for the playing of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please join U.S. Soccer in honoring the life of California South and U.S. Soccer referee Kamal Malouf with a moment of silence. Thank you.
Welcome to the 2014-2015 U-17 18's U.S. Development Academy Championship match between Real Salt Lake, Arizona and the Chicago Fire. Had the player introductions, the playing of our national anthem, and a moment of silence for Cal South referee Kamal Malouf, who tragically died earlier this week. Had done 20 matches around that in the academy this season, including many of the matches at the playoffs in Indiana. Picture of concentration on those Real Salt Lake, Arizona players. It's the Chicago Fire U-17 18s look on. hoping that it's a picture-perfect night for Real Salt Lake, Arizona side that has won the Style Award and their head coach, Martin Vasquez, the U.S. Development Academy Coach of the Year Award. The Chicago Fire hoping that it's a picture to remember for them. The Chicago Fire reaching the championship match in their 7th consecutive playoff appearance. We'll talk about developing world-class players and moving them up through the academy system. 10 players moved up from the U-15-16s to this 17-18 side for the Chicago Fire. So getting it done is the U.S. Development Academy striving to make world-class players. Real Salt Lake, Arizona made swift work of the San Jose Earthquakes the other night, winning 2-0 in the semifinals. Getting their 22nd shutout of the season, Real Salt Lake, Arizona. And this is a side that in 44 games has also scored 176 goals and has been shut out just once. For the Chicago Fire, they come into this game champions of the Mid-America Division and then swept past the Montreal Impact in a 4-2 win. After extra time, though, they needed extra time to get by the Impact. Georgi Mihailovic was the hero in that game, as was Cameron Lindley. Mihailovic with 2 goals in that win over the Montreal Impact, who've had exciting games, the Chicago Fire U-17-18s. Their quarterfinals was a 4-3 win against Houston, and then a 4-2 win in extra time against the Montreal Impact in order to reach this game against the Real Salt Lake, Arizona side that passes the ball better than probably 99% of the teams in this country. So this is going to be an excellent matchup tonight. Plenty of U.S. Youth National Team members on display as well, and one of them is in the form of Cameron Lindley right there, and the number 17 in white for the Chicago Fire. And the U-17-18's U.S. Development Academy Championship is underway. It's Real Salt Lake, Arizona in their Cobalt and Royal, and they are attacking to your right, or to your left rather. Well, the Chicago Fire in the white shirts with black shorts and white socks, they're attacking to your right. And Real Salt Lake will look to possess the ball, move it around. And the Chicago Fire, well, they've done their homework. Not going to keep too much of a high line. Don't want these players running out of steam early, chasing. This ball comes all the way back to Danilo Acosta. Danilo Acosta, such good distribution out of the back. And that's how Real Salt Lake is building inside this first minute. The Claret and Cobalt going forward here through Amar Sadic. Schmidt pushed off the ball. Wins it right back with a deft first touch, Schmidt. And a good through ball as well. Can they find the cross? It's pulled back. And it's going to go out of bounds. It'll be a Chicago Fire goal kick. This is Sawyer Jackman coming over to retrieve the ball. Making his 23rd start in 24 games played, Sawyer Jackman. And safety first for RSL Arizona. Thrown will be taken by Mikey Jimenez. Has played several times for the Chicago Fire reserves, Jimenez. This is Luis Huicho Barraza. Play his college ball at Marquette in the fall. Barraza graduating this year from Vista Grande High School, where Real Salt Lake, Arizona's academy is located, with a 3.9 GPA. It's Acosta to build out of the back again for Real Salt Lake, Arizona. It's the Chicago Fire keeping their shape and a watchful eye. A good job to win it in midfield through Schrupp. And fighting through the Chicago Fire, but neatly chipped away by Acosta. Lindley. Good combination play to open things up here for the Chicago Fire. It was floated to the far side, but cleared away. But a miscue from Graber. You wonder, had Schmidt gotten to it, would the flag have come up? But instead it goes back to Sawyer Jackman. Header one from Gonzalez. Then a hard challenge on the second one. And winning the free kick is Diego Diablo Silva. Both Silva and Sadic will play their college ball at Maryland next fall, as the Argentine caught an arm to the face. Chance early on. Jackman was well positioned. Gets down to make the easy save in the end. Not fully catching that shot. As we're in the 5th minute. And unlike the U-15-16s who play 80 minutes, 18s will play the full 90. This ball over for Mauricio Pineda. Jimenez. Lee. Gonzalez. Gonzalez did well to take the space. Gets it off to Lindley. Strokes it out wide. Lindley gets it back, looking to float it in, but too deep. That's catching practice for Barraza. So 6th minute in the U.S. Development Academy U-17-18 championship match between Real Salt Lake, Arizona and the Chicago Fire. Real Salt Lake, Arizona had an opportunity from a very dangerous position, but were unable to get any power behind the shot. Well shielded out of bounds by Jimenez. Fernandez, Pineda, Schmidt chasing. And Jackman will clear. Jimenez. Was pushed on looking for the run of Lindley, but won back by RSLAZ. Now a player down here, referee says play on. And now another player down for the Fire, it's Lee. Lee's able to get up though. It's the player still down for Real Salt Lake, Arizona. And the Fire under no obligation to clear the ball or kick it out. The good news is that Schmidt is back onto his feet, and now a free kick will be called on the far side. So Schmidt still laboring a bit. Schmidt asking the referee, why didn't he stop plays? You can see Pineda went through the back of him. Nevertheless, there'll be a free kick for the Chicago Fire in the 7th minute. Fire got through the playoffs by going 2-0-1 in group play with 5 goals for and 2 goals against, 2 shutouts, then won at Houston 4-3 in the quarterfinals before the 4-2 thriller in extra time against the Montreal Impact on Thursday afternoon. In our earlier match in the U-15-16s championship, it was FC Dallas 4 and the New York Red Bulls 0 in a stunner. The first time the Red Bulls had been shut out the entire season. So FC Dallas are your U-15-16's U.S. Development Academy champions. And of course, the entire championship is powered by Chevrolet. The Fire doing an excellent job here to not allow Real Salt Lake, Arizona to keep possession, and also having the confidence to pass the ball around them as well. The San Jose Earthquakes were looking long every time. They were so worried about being caught on the counterattack, the Earthquakes, that they didn't create chances like these. Lindley trying his luck from distance. So he got the ball in a pocket of space and was invited to have a go. San Jose just kept sending the ball forward. Chicago Fire not at all afraid to possess it and run at this RSL-AZ side. As Gonzalez wins it back. Lee. This is Pineda. Pineda along with Lindley were here just last week playing for the U.S. U-18 men's national team in the U-18 National Training Center Invitational, hosted right here on Glenn Mooch-Meyernick Field, which is the #1 training field for all U.S. national teams at every level. And this is Pineda. Played the full 90 of both games, Pineda against Uruguay and the Czech Republic. Lindley saw action in both games as well. And this is Lindley. He'll conduct the orchestra for the Chicago Fire. Needs to play better balls than that. It's both Lindley and Pineda, not only national team members, but both members of the Central Conference's starting 11. Pretty sure that you guys can hear FC Dallas, the U-15-16, celebrating in the background. Incredible scenes here earlier and continuing over on field 2, just behind our broadcast position. It's the first 11 minutes and real chances for both sides. And it's Silva getting forward, weaving his way through at the top of the box, Silva. But it's Graber who steps in. Not out of the woods yet, though, the Fire. And a quick fire shot. But it's wide of Sawyer Jackman's goal. An effort from Jose Hernandez, the U-17-18 Player of the Year. Hernandez with 25 goals and 42 appearances so far this season. And it's Hernandez winning the ball on the far side. Good job on that high pressure to win that ball back, and then Hernandez trying to catch Sawyer Jackman unawares. Just put it on the wrong side of the post. This game's been played, though, at a very cautious pace by both teams. A good job to fly through the Cobalt and Claret and win the first corner kick of the game for either side, the Chicago Fire. McCalvary is coming up from the back. And the likes of Pineda, who's right there just beyond the penalty spot. And Graber as well, making a delayed run in. It's going to be played short to try and open up this RSL defense. It's a good ball in! And it is! Slides by everybody. It's the opening goal for the Chicago Fire. Well, you put the ball into the danger area and anything can happen, especially when you allow it to bounce in your box. And it's Mikey Jimenez, number 12, just after the 12th minute, giving the Chicago Fire the 1-0 lead. and all came off the corner kick. Sadic looking for a response for RSLAZ in the 13th minute.
Chicago goal in the 13th minute by number 12,
Graber.
Michael Jimenez.
Bit of a mix-up in the box. Schmidt can't get it to, though. The Chicago Fire looking to pass their way out of traffic. Now it's cleared by Jackman and flicked on. This one will roll out of bounds for an RSLAZ throw, and trailing 1-0 in the 14th minute. And so Jimenez, it came off the post and then just a little header in. From our vantage point, it looked like it snuck all the way through, but it's Jimenez, Johnny on the spot to finish that one off. Now space for Hernandez. Hernandez looking to have a go. Good job by Pineda to force him to turn. Off of the Chicago Fire last, and it's RSLAZ's first corner kick of the match. So Hernandez and Sadic coming over. Lindley and Gonzalez are wise to it, though. Lamar Sadic. Calls Hernandez off, and he's going to play this one into the box. Oh, it's a good floated ball, and a good save from Jackman, as it was Eric Holt who climbed highest and got his header on goal, but Jackman with a strong paw pushes it over the crossbar. Center backs love to get forward on these opportunities. And a great save by Sawyer Jackman. This time Jackman elects to punch. Silky touch by Lindley to bring it down. Unable to find Mihailovic, though. This time the free kick will go the way of Real Salt Lake, Arizona. Trying to push the pace just a bit, RSLAZ. But instead it's going to be Lindley to go the other way for the Chicago Fire in the 16th minute. And Holt doing just enough to touch it off to his center back partner, Danilo Acosta. And now it's Silva on the run. This is Ovalle. That's Ovalle to win it once again. Such a good shield in front of that back four, Ovalle, who's also spent time with Real Monarchs SLC, Real Salt Lake's reserve team in the United Soccer League. This time it was Edgar Duran who was unable to weave his way through the Chicago Fire back line. And the Fire, well, the question is, was the free kick called first as Duran went down, or will it be the free kick for the Chicago Fire in the 17th minute? Either way, referee Les Stalmach having its talk with Jose Hernandez. Les Stalmach out of the Texas North. He's being assisted by Cameron Blanchard on the near side out of Cal South, and Tom Felice on the far side from Connecticut. And then Michael Radchuk, also of Cal South Federation, is your fourth official who has to deal with both Martin Vasquez and Larry Sunderland in between the benches. So Pineda being told to wait for the referee's whistle. Just seemed to catch the RSLAZ player in an uncomfortable area. It's Mauricio Pineda's free kick in the 18th minute. And almost putting Sejdic in an awkward situation, but he's able to get it out wide, but at the expense of a throw in Sejdic. The Chicago Fire doing so well to disrupt the rhythm of this Real Salt Lake, Arizona side so far in these 19 minutes. And they're a goal to the good thanks to a header from Mikey Jimenez, who's on the ball here and in some space. Elects for the quick shot. Good reactions from Barraza. That ball had all types of swerves on it. And Barraza was going the other way and had to reach back and claw it over the crossbar. Good first-time hit. And Barraza looked beaten. That's a tremendous save. And you could see Jimenez couldn't believe it. He thought he had his second of the night. Corner kick in the 19th minute. It'll be take two, this time from the other side. It'll be the third corner kick of the game for the Chicago Fire. Another look at the save. Couldn't watch that over and over and over again from Luis Vicho Barraza. Has another corner kick to deal with here. Cheeky little smile from the U.S. international, Cameron Lindley. He plays it short. And another great save from Barraza. Something from the training ground there to catch RSLAZ off guard. And it almost came to fruition. But once again, Barraza is equal to the task. You can see Barraza not at all happy with his players, who seem to be moving at a bit slower pace. They came flying out against the San Jose Earthquakes. They haven't moved the ball around as quickly tonight as they did in their semifinal. Barraza takes the goal kick to Ovalle. Sejdic. Larry Sunderland's side doing so well to keep their shape. They're keeping their lines compact, not allowing Real Salt Lake to live in those pockets of space. They might find one here. Trying to chase it down on the far side. A tenacious defending. And it yields a Chicago Fire throw-in. Some might have given a free kick there, but perhaps the ball had already gone out of bounds. And referee Les Stalmuch letting them play here. Duran, looking to spin at the top of the box, lays it off for Sejdic. Touches it on for Diego Diablo Silva. Jimenez squares up to him. Sejdic once again. Flips it over to the far side. Ovalle. Danilo Acosta. Lovely touch to open up his run, but then a bit too much, and running out of real estate was Silva on the far side. But notice how the first touch was in the direction that he wanted to play it, and that's what allowed him to skip by the first defender. But then the second touch was a bit too heavy, and Jimenez lucky there, as usually Silva keeps those in bounds. Good look at the goal scorer, Jimenez. His ability to attack out of the back and his positional awareness, especially on that cross, and you can see why. He's already featured for the Fire's reserves. Mikey Jimenez, the number 12. Chicago Fire won the Mid-America Division by just 1 point ahead of Shattuck St. Mary's. And then it was RSLAZ who had to face Shattuck St. Mary's in the quarterfinals and just squeaked past them 2-1. Da Silva squeaking past the double team. It's a good ball in. But nobody arriving in an RSLAZ jersey. The Chicago Fire able to scramble it away in time. Eric Holt. Danilo Acosta. Acosta's dispossessed. Hernandez slides in and wins the challenge. Still going, Hernandez. Creates the space for himself. And Jackman pushes it to safety. Another good save from Jackman. And it's the third corner kick of the game for Real Salt Lake, Arizona. The Casa Grande side looking for the equalizer in the 24th minute. And they almost found it through the U.S. Development Academy U-17-18's Player of the Year in Jose Hernandez, finding space at the top of the box. Sadic with another corner kick, headed down in the box. And something could still be on here for RSLAZ, but the Fire able to clear their lines. Ovalle. Excellent flick on. There's Hernandez. Back to Ovalle. And RSLAZ will hit the reset button in the 25th minute. Sadic skips past the challenge of Mihalovic. Pumped into the box. And then pushing in the back. Get out of jail free card for the Chicago Fire. And Hernandez will leave this off for his goalkeeper. Chicago Fire, led by Larry Sunderland, former pro player with the New York Express, the Milwaukee Wave, and the Chicago Power. Also doubles up as a first-team assistant coach. As Jimenez read that well, making sure that ball didn't get slotted through the channel for Diego Silva. Lindley walking a tightrope along the end line. And coming over to tidy up was Danilo Acosta. Sadic. Real Salt Lake, Arizona not hitting the panic button. Rightly so. So much time left. They're going to continue to try and impose their passing game on the Chicago Fire side. Silva, the marauding fullback, forward once again. Ovalle quells any chance of a counterattack. As RSL keep on the high pressure, but the ball stays in bounds. Only as far as Acosta. Acosta once again. Long ball through, flag stays down. Ed Schmidt couldn't latch onto it. Easy for Jackman in the end. He gave a cynical look over to the assistant referee number 2 on the far side. Brought down by Mihalovic. Mihalovic, the hero against Montreal Impact with that brace, was pulled up from the U-15-16s for this tournament. And his honor for the Central Conference starting 11 is in the U-15-16s age group. So the ability to pull players up that can produce at a higher level, that's exactly the goal of these development academies. And they're certainly getting the job done here. As are the Chicago Fire, who have the 28th minute lead over Real Salt Lake, Arizona in the DA Championship match presented by Chevrolet. On a gorgeous ball. The space here, good save again by Barraza. coming out to cut down the angle for Gutmann. Gutmann's done a lot of running down that far side, this time electing to go into the channel. Excellent tracking back by Gonzalez. And Real Salt Lake, Arizona are beside themselves. Thought it was a fair challenge as Mihalovic went to ground, but the referee disagrees, and Chicago Fire take it quickly. Long searching ball for Gonzalez, headed away. Gonzalez able to retrieve it and gets it back to the goal scorer, Jimenez. Jimenez once again. RSLAZ looking to amp up the pressure here in the 29th minute. And they win the ball back, but then straight away give it off to the keeper in the Chicago Fire jersey. Now the Fire looking to build through Lee. That one deflecting off of Aaron Herrera on the far side. And be another opportunity from the set piece for the Chicago Fire, their fourth corner kick of the first half. Obraza has made some sensational saves. He might even have done it with his shoes untied. So been an in-swinger from the far side. Oh, and it's a good ball played deep. Barraza electing to stay on his line. Real Salt Lake, Arizona letting it bounce in their box again. But they're able to get it clear. Only as far as Lee. Barraza looking on as the break could be on here. The flag stays down, but Jackman is out to get there before Hernandez. And now the foul being called. Schmitz had a tough evening. Just past the half-hour mark here at Glenn Mooch Meyernick Field. 1-0 in favor of the Chicago Fire in the U.S. Development Academy U-17-18 championship match between Real Salt Lake, Arizona and the Chicago Fire, presented by Chevrolet. And the goal coming in the 13th minute off the head of Mikey Jimenez. Can Real Salt Lake conjure up the equalizer? Sadic tried to flick it on, but it was cleared away. Good hold-up play to allow more Fire players to get forward and around the ball. And that's something the Fire do so well, is no matter where the ball is on the field, they always make sure to have one or two players around the player with the ball so that he has short options and doesn't just have to look long. This time Acosta able to dig it out of the corner for RSLAZ. Herrera, scorer of the game-winning goal against the San Jose Earthquakes in the semifinals. It was a tap home at the back post, much like Jimenez's goal was. But his was with his feet in the 43rd minute against the resolute San Jose Earthquakes side. And then Sadic iced the game, and a goal that was almost a carbon copy of the first goal just after the hour mark. But here in the final, Real Salt Lake, Arizona still looking to get on the board. Ovalle. Space for Da Silva. Pumps it across over the head of the RSL attacker. Herrera with a smart header. And Ovalle, that link between the defense and midfield, between the defense and attack. He's the one who dictates the rhythm and the pace of their transitions for RSLAZ Ovalle. This time it's Holt. Ventured forward and then felt that he was a bit too far forward and elected to leave it off. Sadic. Hernandez allowed to turn. Silva getting forward once again. was looking to play in the low cross, but it was Jimenez doing the defending and doing it well. RSLAZ starting to exert themselves a little bit more here in the 34th minute. Have a real pocket of possession. But the Chicago Fire have kept them off the board. Jackman's done his bit with a few nice saves. Now Lee will get forward for Sawyer Jackman's goal kick. 10 clean sheets this year for the Chicago Fire U-17 18s. They're defending so well here, the Chicago Fire, but as we've seen from their last 2 games, they're certainly not afraid to get into a shootout. That's another good ball, and Duran climbing. And doing just enough to put him off was Mikey Jimenez. Frustration on the face of Duran. Well, it was Damian Herman who climbed there. Herman has 34 goals in 39 games coming into this final for RSLAZ. Just a reminder of the firepower on display for this RSLAZ side. Although the Chicago Fire defending stoutly and have a 1-0 lead through that man, Mikey Jimenez, heading home in the 13th minute after a cross went all the way through and rebounded off the crossbar. And that would have been a good win, except for the elbow coming up. Now, Sierakowski won that ball cleanly, but then at the last second, put up that elbow to go into the back. Had he just cut it right away, he could have been off and running. Instead, it's RSLAZ working to the end line and looking to put in a cross, but it's too deep and it goes out of bounds. It'll be another goal kick for the Chicago Fire as we're inside the final 10 minutes of the first half. Larry Sunderland and his staff looking on. Have to be happy with the way his side have played so far. Talked about how well they've defended, but they've been very good going forward. And they forced a couple sensational saves out of Luis Barraza. So if it weren't for both goalkeepers, we could be in a shootout. This game could easily be 3-2 in favor of either side, really. And instead, it remains 1-0 in the 37th minute. Hernandez. Ovalle gets it from Herrera. Little touch on for Herrera from Hernandez. Now Herrera looks to get forward. Plays it inside. Chipped into the path of Herman Damian. And Sadic, deflected effort. Jackman calling for calm. Shot looked to have taken a deflection, but instead it's just going to be a goal kick. Well, in the end, it got through everyone, but got over the crossbar as well. Jackman flings it forward, and that'll be another free kick for the Chicago Fire. Pineda sprays it out wide. Gutman was muscled off the ball, but the Chicago Fire win it back in midfield. Possession conceded to Real Salt Lake, Arizona. Lovely first touch, and a great return ball as well. Schmidt racing down the center, and instead electing to keep it as Herman. Still might be something on here for Herman. Somehow gets behind Pineda, and the cross cleared with a last-ditch effort. Acosta doing just enough, and Holt is there to mop up. Silva. Sunderland screaming for the Fire to pressure higher. And they win it back through Gonzalez. Sierakowski flying down this near side, but instead it comes to Lee in the middle. Lindley asking for it back. And Lee tried to play it through for him, but Lindley cut his run short. Tremendous one-on-one defending from Lindley. And a beautiful ball slipped in for Sierakowski. Strong in the challenge is Acosta. Silva motoring forward once again. Jimenez, textbook one-on-one defending. So calm in the challenge, Jimenez. Perfect technique. Was so nonchalant about it, especially with Silva flying at him. And now he's looking to get forward here. Jimenez has the game's lone goal coming in the 13th minute as the Chicago Fire have a 1-0 lead over Real Salt Lake, Arizona in the 2014-2015 U.S. Development Academy Championship match at the U-17-18 level. Inside the final 5 minutes of first half regulation. Real Salt Lake moved the ball around so well. Even though they're down 1-0, you can see why they've won the Style Award, Real Salt Lake, Arizona. Silva. And it's Jimenez stepping in once again. Lindley. Pineda. And Jackman is the safety valve. Ovalle wins the header over Lee. But the Fire grab it right back. Smartly stepped in from Ovalle. Can see why he's already made it to RSL's second team with our Real Salt Lake, or excuse me, with SLC, Real Monarchs SLC. And now Sierakowski wins the free kick. You can see the RSLAZ fans did not agree with that one at all. And it's Herman who was clipped. He might have a case there, Herman. Martin Vasquez. He's looking on as his team have to defend a free kick here from Lindley. The Carmel, Indiana native. Looking to float it into the box. And Barraza elects to punch. And it's going to be the 5th corner kick of the half for the Chicago Fire. It's Barraza, who's been stellar in this first half. Not his best moment there. So it'll be Lindley over the dead ball once again, this time from the corner kick. Has Oscar Gonzalez short if he wants it. Lindley. Cleared only to the top of the box. Poke back out to Lindley. He didn't catch it right on the cross. Oh, and a poor giveaway from Silva. This time Lindley slides it through. Cleared away by Aaron Herrera at the back post. Schmidt. Nice little deception from Schmidt. He was taken down late. And it's been a tough first half for Schmidt. He's been thrown to the turf plenty of times already in this first half. And it looks like
the referee has issued a yellow card to Chicago Fire.
Has given a yellow card.
Number 17,
Cameron Lindley for that late challenge on Schmidt. So now Lindley will have to be careful as we're in the final minute of first half regulation in the DA U-17-18's championship match between Real Salt Lake, Arizona and the Chicago Fire. Holt clears it, but at the expense of a throw-in. Waiting for a signal from the referee to the fourth official to see how much stoppage time there will be. Herrera trying to step in, but Gutman wins it. Still going Gutman, one-on-one against Barraza, and he slots it in. The Chicago Fire have a 2-0 lead right on the stroke of halftime. Gutman salutes the fans. It was a bulldozing run from Gutman, created the space for himself, and he finished with a flourish.
The referee has added a minimum of 2 minutes of additional time to the first half. Chicago Fire goal in the 45th minute.
And that was 10, all Gutman. Won that back.
Gutman.
And then drove right through the heart of the RSLAZ defense and slotted it beyond Barraza at his near post. Silva looking for an instant response. And it was Schrapp doing just enough. 18-year-old will play his college ball at Georgetown in the fall. And as one number 8 clears it for a corner kick, another number 8 will take it. Fourth corner kick for RSLAZ, but the header placed right into the arms of Jackman. Jackman not at all happy with the defending, as that's the second time Holt has gotten a free header on Jackman. First one, Jackman palmed over his crossbar. The second one was right into his hands. But still not happy that the center back has been able to ghost in on both occasions and get ahead to it. Remains 2-0 though. The Chicago Fire, thanks to this man, Gutman. Gutman playing it into the box, but nobody there. Andrew Gutman, the 18-year-old, he'll play at Indiana in the fall. His 4th goal this season, but it could be a big one. Well read by Pineda as Sadic tried to thread it through. Silva brings it down, has the beating of Fernandez. Gets by Jimenez, but cannot get by Pineda. However, a last gasp opportunity Arizona to cut the deficit in half before the break. Eric Holt will definitely be getting forward here as Sadich comes to the near side to take the 5th corner kick of the half for Real Salt Lake, Arizona. It's a good ball floated in. Bounced in the box, falls kindly for Schmidt, but just too many bodies in the way. And the fire will clear, and the whistle goes, and at halftime, it's the Chicago Fire 2,
0.
Real Salt Lake, Arizona 0.
2.
Goals coming in the 13th minute from Jimenez and the 45th minute from Gutman. And it's Real Salt Lake trailing at the break, 2-0 to Chicago Fire. You are watching the U.S. Development Academy U-17-18 Championships presented by Chevrolet. We're going to take a booth here in the break, but we'll be back with you for the second half. We're all set for the final 45 minutes and possibly more of the U.S. Development Academy U-17-18 season. It's the Chicago Fire with the ball in a 2-0 lead. The call on the RSL bench at halftime was, if they score 2 goals in the first half, we can score 3 in the second. And if we're going to go down, let's at least make sure we go down fighting. Let's pick up the pace just a little bit. And if Real Salt Lake, Arizona can come back and tie up this game, we will have 2 15-minute periods of extra time, no golden goal. And then if still tied after the extra 30 minutes, we will go to penalty kicks. But for now, Real Salt Lake, Arizona need to score 2 goals in order to make that happen. And they're on the ball here early in the second half. No changes made at halftime. It's the center back Holt bringing it forward. Schmidt trying to save it on the far side, RSLAZ, but they're unable to do so. Schmidt's ball was too heavy for Silva. Goals coming in the 13th and 45th minutes. The first one off the head of Mikey Jimenez. The second one off the foot of Andrew Gutman. Pineda came out, or Jackman came out rather, but Pineda was aware that there was an RSLAZ striker sniffing around. And now space for Sierakowski. Sierakowski's through one-on-one, tries to chip Barasa, and Barasa got a hand to it. A heavy challenge, but play goes on, and it's RSL to go the other way in the 48th minute. Herman. Waiting for the overlap. It's Herrera getting forward. Puts in the ball. It's a good ball to the back post. And arriving just a split second too late was Schmidt. Jackman in the fire. His first. Sierakowski was through. However, trying to be a bit too cheeky there, Sierakowski. And the Fire player still down behind the play. So it was a heavy challenge, but Les Stallmarch deemed it a fair one. The trainer's quickly out to check on the Chicago Fire player. Can't quite tell who's down. Concerned looks from the Chicago Fire bench. And it's Gonzalez. Gonzalez being helped up, but it looks like he's going to walk off the field under his own power. Jog off. So the picture looking good for Gonzalez. Cry from the RSLAZ bench is lock him in. As Gonzalez now just has to wait for the referee, Les Stallmarch, to wave him back onto the field. So for the moment, the Chicago Fire are down to 10 men.
Wait for his go.
It'll be Jimenez to take the long throw on the far side. Flicked on. Won by Hernandez. Herman was dispossessed, but it's won back by Danilo Acosta. Oh, some excellent footwork. Danilo Acosta all the way up here. With a good pressure from the center back, winning the throw-in for RSLAZ. Well, it's been all RSLAZ inside these first 5 minutes of the second half. But it was Sierakowski had the best chance of the second half so far for the Fire. Sadic from distance. Tremendous strike. And RSLAZ are back in it. Jackman beaten comprehensively. And the future Terrapin has RSLAZ clawing their way back into this game. Dipping shot from Amar Sadic. And in the 51st minute, it's RSLAZ 1, Chicago Fire 2.
Real Salt Lake Arizona goal in the 51st minute by number 8,
Hernandez
Amar
chips it in.
Sadic.
And Herman was clipped. Stayed on his feet, though, Herman. Back to Hernandez. Falls to the feet of Avalle. Slots it out wide. Inside for Schmidt. He looks to have a go. And Jackman did just enough. First corner kick of the half, and it goes to Real Salt Lake. Well, I said the Royals were looking the better of the two sides to start this second half. And had Sierra Nkowski been more clinical, it would very easily be 3-0 in favor of the Chicago Fire. And Sadic makes him pay at the other end. And Holt with his third free header from a corner kick. But this one placed weakly into the ground, and it bounces right up into the breadbasket of Jackman. Jackman to clear once again. Sierakowski pushes it out wide. A good job to ride the challenge. Sierakowski's in the box. Lindley's there as well, brings it down. And Lindley ran right into Eric Holt. And it's Acosta to pass it out of the back. Is Lindley slow to get up? Wanted a penalty called there, Lindley. His appeals fell on deaf ears. And now it's Herman chasing. Waits for players to arrive in the box. Did well to pick out a pass, but crowded out in the end. Sadic's effort in the 51st minute means it's game on here at Glenn Mooch-Meyernick Field in the U.S. Development Academy U-17-18's championship match presented by Chevrolet. This Gutmann does well to keep this in. Acosta beats his opposite number to the ball. And Barraza is calm under pressure. This one out of bounds from Jackman. Herrera with the throw-in. As RSLAZ have grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck, but still looking for the equalizer. As Jimenez slid to poke that away from Hernandez. Holt. Acosta. One of the U.S. Development Academy's Western Conference starting 11. Danilo Acosta. Jose Hernandez, of course, the player of the year. As a foul will be called by the assistant referee on the far side, Tom Felice. Getting in late and clipping him was the RSLAZ defender. The assistant referee on the far side right to put up his flag. So good opening 10 minutes to this first half for RSLAZ, but they trail the Chicago Fire 2-1 here at Glenn Moochmeyer Nick Field. Schmidt. Push to the turf, Schmidt, but not before he ran out of bounds with it, so it'll be a throw-in for the Fire. Oh, and somehow that throw-in gets all the way through. It's played back. Goodman looking for a second. Almost picked it out. Just unable to find that upper corner. It was a lovely effort with the outside of his left boot. Curled it around the defender, but just around the outside of the post as well. RSLAZ flying forward once again. It's Silva. A good shielding by Schmidt to win another corner kick for the Claret and Cobalt. 7th of the game for RSLAZ. That was so crafty from Gutmann. The corner headed only as far as Edgar Duran, and that was meant to be a shot. Instead, it goes all the way out wide, and RSLAZ will keep possession through their center back, Acosta. He wanted to try his luck, but didn't catch it properly. Jimenez defending stoutly on that far side and winning the goal kick for the Fire. Jackman knows he has to calm things down just a bit as RSLAZ has started to impose themselves here. Holt, center back, has had 3 glorious opportunities off of headers on corner kicks. The first, he forced a very good save out of Jackman, and then the second 2 should have done better with. Goodman with that goal right on the stroke of halftime of the reason that the Fire have a 2-1 lead.
Danny, get behind me. Vito, check around. I'm fucking monkey too, man.
Herrera. Holt. If it's not on one way, try and go down another avenue. Space for Hernandez. Tried to thread it through for Schmidt. Smartly chested down by Mihalovic. Gutman. Muscles off Hernandez. Still going Gutman. And I think that Gutman had a case for a foul on Herrera, but Herrera allowed to continue his run. However, it's won back by Graber. Smart tackle on the far side. Hernandez leaves it off for Herrera. Ovalle. And it's Ovalle once again. Schmidt. Hint of handball. And the referee blows his whistle on Lee. Schmidt wanted to take it quickly. And the Fire smartly standing over the ball so that they'll need to get 10 yards. And it allows all the white jerseys to get behind it. Sawyer Jackman setting up a 3-man wall. They know that Sadic can hit him from here. As Sejdic over the dead ball on the hour mark. That shot always rising. As RSLAZ continue to search for the equalizer. That header rather hit off the back of Mihailovic. And this is Duran. He leaves it off. The quick shot from Sejdic. Right into the pouch of Jackman.
Mihailovic, if lead pops off, you gotta cover there.
Mihailovic got caught out there. If they go forward like that, he needs to tuck into that space. And that's the space that RSLAZ exploited. Possession conceded in the midfield once again. Goodman. Lindley. Still going, Lindley. And no foul, says the referee. Second time Lindley has felt aggrieved in the second half. Inside the final 30 minutes of the U.S. Development Academy U-17-18 championship match between Real Salt Lake, Arizona and the Chicago Fire. As Lindley might have been clipped there by Acosta. Referee says that Acosta didn't get him, but Lindley's progress was certainly impeded. A good look at Joseph Lee, 17-year-old who attends Vernon Hills High School. This championship match is his 28th of the season. And now the referee telling Lindley he has to be smart. He knows that he's on a yellow card, the referee. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given him so much leeway. Good refereeing, though, there from Les Stalmuch. Knowing that one of the Fire's most important players was on a yellow card, and he wasn't going to send him off for something that silly. Lindley really has to be careful now. That ball hitting off of Avalle. Be interesting to see if after this championship match, as you can see, Stalmuch saying, "You're on a yellow, son. Use your head. One more." And that second yellow will come out. And now we're going to see a double substitution for Real Salt Lake, Arizona, as they look to find the equalizer. And it's going to be Alec Felix coming on for his 40th appearance of the season. Was a second half sub in the semifinal match against the San Jose Earthquakes as well. And he's going to come on for Sejdic. Well, either Sejdic has to be injured or he has to be gassed. But it's his number that's up. And Carranza also enters just as he did in the second half against San Jose for Schmidt. And Schmidt fought and battled hard, but had a tough game, Schmidt. Some excellent skill from the number 2, but also dragged and thrown to the turf on plenty of occasions.
Yellow
goes out
card
of bounds for the
issued
first
to
corner kick of the match
RSL,
for the Chicago Fire.
Number 6, Danilo Acosta in the 64th minute.
So Lindley will come over and take. Apparently Danilo Acosta was given a yellow card behind the play. Fire elect to play it short. Good ball into the mixer. RSLAZ did just enough. Now the referee's assistant on the far side has his flag up. And you can see with his hand motion, he's saying that the player came back from an offside position to get on the end of that ball. Well, after the opening 10 minutes of this first half, the Fire have done a good job to put the clamp down on RSLAZ once again. Still bossing this second half in terms of possession, RSLAZ, but haven't quite created the chances like they did in those first 10 minutes, resulting in Sadic's goal. But Hernandez trying to change that. Chicago defending in numbers. Headed back across goal, Duran arriving. But so was Pineda, and he smacks it clear. Jackman continuing to shout orders at his charges, getting them set for this corner kick. 8th of the game for Real Salt Lake. And it's an outswinger from the near side. Almost something spectacular from Herman.
Double substitution for Real Salt Lake, Arizona in the 65th minute. Number 5,
Aaron
Alex
Herrera
Feliz.
scored on a bicycle kick
On
earlier
for
in the
number
season.
8, Amar Sadic.
That in a 9-0
Also,
win
number
against
12,
Arsenal.
Gavino Carranza. On for number 2, Tate Smith.
Jackman plays short. Shroop. Showrup's ball forward, easily intercepted by the RSLAZ back line. Herrera getting forward more here in the second half. Thanks to the great work of Gutman, was unable to get forward in the first. Holt off for a central back partner, Ovalle. And that's a good ball played in. And once again, nobody arriving at the back stick in time for RSLAZ. But it will be a throw on the far side as Silva smartly played it off his defender. The Fire creating a brick wall, inviting Real Salt Lake, Arizona to break them down. There's really no surprise that the one goal that Real Salt Lake, Arizona scored came off of a shot from distance, and it was the one time that Sadic wasn't closed down quickly. For the most part, though, the Chicago Fire have done an excellent job to be very compact and cut down that interchange and interplay of tight passes. And that will be a free kick for Real Salt Lake, Arizona in the 69th minute. Pineda, the guilty party. And another chance for Holt to get forward here. Is this free kick teased in and too close to Jackman? Needs to be a bit more urgency from this Real Salt Lake, Arizona side. Too tactile for the referee's liking, so free kick for the Chicago Fire. So it was great shielding from Gonzalez. And then a foul on the substitute, Carranza. Shroop. Oh, it's a good ball in, deflection and own goal. 2-goal lead restored for the Chicago Fire. And it's Gutman causing all the trouble once again.
In our blocks. Discipline. Mouty. Come on.
Gutman with a dangerous ball across. And whenever a defender is facing towards his own goal, there's always going to be problems. And it comes off the unfortunate Danilo Acosta. Inside the final 20 minutes, RSLAZ must find 2 goals again. Holt.
Hey, see the ball, quick throw.
What will the response be from this RSLAZ side? Hernandez unable to keep it in bounds. The Chicago Fire have done so well to be smart on defense and then to break out at the right times. And I'm not saying that they've parked the bus by any means. They're going to have to get back here. Ovalier's touch was too heavy off the poor clearance. And then he's whistled for the foul.
Goal for Chicago Fire in the 70th minute.
And now Ovalier being called over by the referee, Les Stalmach.
Good leadership, kid. All right? Hey, you guys, come on.
Felix won the first header, but the Fire win the second. And out of bounds off of Ovalle. Looks like he might have tweaked something. Peter Schorop. Future Hoya. His throw into Gutman, who wins the free kick. Gutman has a goal and created the own goal. A free kick. And Barraza elected to punch. Looked like he might have been able to catch that, but it still might work out here for RSLAZ on the charge in the 73rd minute. And that one played in behind Duran. And the Fire back line just smashes it to safety. The 74th minute of the U.S. Development Academy U-17 18s Championship presented by Chevrolet. It's the Chicago Fire with a 3-1 lead over RSLAZ. Lee has worked feverishly in midfield. Holt. Acosta. Out wide for Silva. Silva needs to get the service right, but it's in too close to Jackman. Jackman taking all 6 seconds. Herman chasing, but Graber smashes it clear. Herrera trying to be too fancy in the midfield, and it gives the ball back to the Fire. However, they promptly concede it right back to RSLAZ. Acosta trying to go down the middle, and stepping in is Lindley. Oh, deft piece of skill from him. Ovalle skips past Gutman. Cross is repelled once again, though, by that Fire back line. Owen Gutman putting Sharap in an awkward situation. Ovalle to the back post. Just beyond Herman. Tracks it down just outside the box. Looking to get it back in himself. Instead leaves it off at the top of the box for Hernandez. And able to poke it, clears the fire. Herrera thought about trying his luck. Now witnesses the space out wide. Pulls it back across goal. And the Fire first to it once again. Sierakowski was going 1-on-3 there. RSLAZ win it back and get it to their number 10. He continued his run, Jose Hernandez, but couldn't find the return ball. So we're inside the final 15 minutes of regulation. Chicago Fire have a 3-1 lead, but by no means is that comfortable against this Real Salt Lake, Arizona side. As Gutman wins the free kick, and the cry from the Chicago Fire bench is, how many times has he done this? They want a yellow card for persistent fouling. And Ovalle's season with the Real Salt Lake, Arizona U-17 18s is done, as he comes off for Alex Knox in the 77th minute. It'll be interesting to see if after this, if Ovalle will go back to the USL with the SLC Monarchs. Check that, Real Monarchs SLC.
Real Salt Lake, Arizona substitution in the 77th minute. Number 3, Alex Knox.
Played it again, just beyond Sierakowski.
Adolfo Ovalle.
Felix Herrera. Sierakowski keeping a watchful eye. And now Lee stepping in. Oh, lovely interplay from RSL, but it comes to nothing. It's the Chicago Fire players hunting in packs back. And now the Fire will make a substitution. Just checking in will be Craig Campbell, 18-year-old making his 9th appearance of the season.
Chicago Fire substitution in the 78th minute. Number 13, Craig Campbell, on for number 38,
it's going to be
Georgi
the youngster
Mihalovic.
Georgi Mihalovic, who comes out, pulled up from the U15-16s for this tournament. And he showed that he can compete at this level. The hero against the Montreal Impact with 2 goals, Georgi Mihalovic. Certainly a big part of the reason that the Chicago Fire are 12 minutes plus change away from lifting the U.S. Development Academy U-17 18s trophy. And a reminder that for all your U.S. Development Academy news, to follow him on Twitter at USSoccer_acad. Mikey Jimenez wants players to get forward. He has a long throw in Jimenez. Score of the game's first goal all the way back in the 13th minute. So this is a Chicago Fire side that has come in and executed a game plan to perfection. So great to see players learning at this age not only how to play the game right on the field, but how to study film, how to break it down, and then to have a plan and go out and execute that. I'll tell you, when I was playing soccer, that was not something that we had. Even at the top levels, never had any film sessions. Larry Sunderland and his coaching staff certainly done their homework. And certainly transmitted their plan to the Chicago Fire team, who has implemented it almost to perfection through 80 minutes tonight. Still, RSLAZ can change the game on a dime. So they're going to have to stay compact and continue to execute the Chicago Fire. But with each second that ticks away, they get closer and closer to the trophy. Hard to break down a team that gets so many men behind the ball, but Real Salt Lake, Arizona players need to be moving a lot more if they're going to find openings, as Herman has whistled for the foul. Inside the final 10 minutes of regulation. Jimenez opened the scoring for the Chicago Fire in the 13th minute, and then Gutman made it 2-0 right on the stroke of halftime. Sejdic responded in the 51st minute as RSLAZ came flying out of the gates to start the second half, but then an own goal off the unfortunate Acosta made it 3-1 in favor of the Chicago Fire in the 71st. And RSLAZ trying to pull to within one once again via the free kick. And they'll have another chance off the corner. 9th of the game now for RSLAZ, 4th of this half. Herrera with the corner kick now that Sejdic is out. The Fire are able to clear once again. Pineda and Graber have been so solid along the back line, as has been Jimenez. And Jimenez has shown that he can get forward as well. Speaking of getting forward, Acosta's forward here for RSLAZ, as is Holt. And really just no space to get by the substitute Craig Campbell there. Good defending from the 18-year-old. There'll be another goal kick for Jackman. Oh, Herrera threw a player down after his pass was intercepted. Fire doing a good job to keep their heads. Lindley will take the free kick. Tried to float it to the far side. Had shorter and smarter options, Lindley. And now a free kick will be whistled against Craig Campbell. The referee's coming over to have a word with him. Campbell saying, "It's just my first." You can see the RSLAZ fans screaming after the referee. They want a card. As Carranza's down on the far side. Even with Carranza labeling, they still take the free kick quickly, RSLAZ. Herrera. Knox. Able to keep it in bounds. Has the beating of Schrapp, but unable to get his cross into a decent position. And it's just a goal kick for Jackman in the end. Schrapp, Pineda, Graber, and Jimenez have been so stellar along that back line, as that is a very heavy challenge. The fair one, says the referee. And RSL able to continue here. Played in the channel for Carranza. Tried to leave it back, and it was well read by Craig Campbell.
Hey, beware back post. We got 3 here. Beware back post.
And now that urgency starting to show as Barraza coming all the way out of his goal to get that throw in. And the ball will be launched forward to the top of the box. Holt winning the first header all the way up the center back, but the offside flag is up. And it's another free pass out of the back for the Chicago Fire.
on, boys. We don't stop. We don't stop.
Still pouring forward here, RSLAZ. Can they set up a nervy finale? Oh, they wanted a handball in the box. And instead it's going to go the other way.
Lee, lift us up here. Come on, Cam. Lift us up, boys.
As Craig Campbell was thrown to the carpet.
Marty, this is you, Marty. Vamos.
Inside the final 5 minutes of regulation. Chicago Fire look on their way to taking the U-17 18's Development Academy Championship back home with them. This is a Fire side that has given up 7 goals in their last 3 games. And yet against the very dangerous RSLAZ, they've only given up 1 goal so far. It's good ball to the back post. And Holt unable to get his head onto it. Another goal kick for Jackman. The defense turning it on when they needed to the most. And the Chicago Fire are getting closer and closer. Is the St. Charles, Illinois native getting set to take another goal kick. And it wasn't the best, but he atones for his error. And now a foul will be called. Coming in late once again, this time on Graber. And Jackman saying it's my fault. So there comes the push, and that's one born out of frustration more than anything. Now Tanner Dietrich getting set to check in. Nashville, Tennessee native is a member of the U-17 men's national team pool. And he's committed to Clemson. Also checking in will be Daniel Moreno. Two and a half minutes plus change to make a difference for Daniel Moreno and Tanner Dietrich. Hernandez was dispossessed by Gutman, but he wins it back. Felix. Acosta. So unlucky to see that third goal go off his foot. But Gutman put it into a very dangerous area. And there's always trouble when you try and clear facing your own goal.
Minute. Number 20, Daniel Moreno.
Final 2 minutes now of regulation.
Edgar Duran.
And it just doesn't seem to be happening for RSLAZ, does it?
Number 55, Tanner Dietrich. On for number 9, Diego Silva.
Flicked on, but nobody making the run in behind. And Jackman waiting till the very last second to pick up that ball. So it was Daniel Moreno chasing him down. Header won by Sierakowski, who will play at Michigan State. Herrera tried to float it in. Chicago Fire have been bosses in their area dealing crosses, at least from the run of play, not so much from corner kicks. They've been lucky that Holt wasn't able to do more with some of his headers. As we're in the final minute of regulation in the U.S. Development Academy U-17 18's championship match. Real Salt Lake, Arizona trailing 3-1 to the Chicago Fire. The Fire making their 7th consecutive playoff appearance, on the verge of lifting the trophy. All that remains is to see out these final 20 seconds in stoppage time. Campbell. Sierakowski was offside. Barraza wants everybody to go up as he sprints about 10 yards past where the offsides flag went up. 10 yards in that part of the field, not going to matter to up, especially with Barraza's foot.
The referee has added a minimum of 3 minutes of added time to the end of the game.
Smashed into the box. Knox. Well, he's been able to keep it in, Knox. But he commits the foul on Gutman. Has to be the player of the game, Gutman. Scored a goal and created another one. It's a great job to keep it in bounds, and then Gutman trying to get up to fight for it. And Knox put his arm around him and was whistled for the free kick. Flicked on for Fernandez. Gonzalez, rather. Tried to get it to the corner. Diedrich did well to put him off. And it took a touch off of Acosta, so the ball's going to stay with the Fire as we are now a minute into stoppage time. 3 minutes has been signaled. Chicago has already navigated their way through one. They're just going to try and keep the ball into the corner. And it will be a goal kick for RSLAZ. Well, they're going to need a miracle here, RSLAZ. Especially against such a staunch defensive side in the Chicago Fire. Hernandez. Good first touch. Working in his way into the box is Carranza. But once again, Pineda's there. Can see why he was named to the Central Conference's starting 11. Final minute of the 3 minutes minimum of stoppage time. Pumped into the box once again. Oh, and a rare miscue from Sawyer Jackman, but nobody was there to pounce. Jackman now will put it on the ground and wait till an RSLAZ forward runs at him. Such a good job to instantly kill that ball on the far side. And anywhere will do now for the Chicago Fire. Good job to live off the back shoulder from Sierakowski. And an even better job just to keep possession for the Fire, as that's a silly foul from Acosta and a yellow card. And that's his second yellow card, and Acosta is off in stoppage time. And Lindley saying, really just not worth it. But nothing to complain about. Acosta's already off. The good news is that Lee is okay. Lee has been stellar in that midfield. Has really done a great job to break up RSLAZ attacks. And you could see the way he's frustrated RSLAZ tonight. It was too much for Danilo Acosta as he was dispossessed once again. And Lindley just firing that as hard as he can. And that will do it. The Chicago Fire are your U.S. Development Academy U-17-18 national
Real
champions.
Salt Lake 1, Chicago Fire 3. Congratulations to the 2014
Incredible scenes here at
US
Glenn
Soccer
Mooch,
Development
Meyernick
Academy
Field.
U-17-18 champions, Chicago Fire. Ladies and gentlemen,
Despair for Real Salt
please
Lake
join
AZ.
us in celebrating the achievements of both Real Salt Lake, Arizona and Chicago Fire at Half Field. Presentation will start shortly.
A tremendous job by the Chicago Fire. Came in with a game plan and executed it to perfection. And in the end, they run out 3-1 winners. Goal from Jimenez in the 13th, Gutman in the 45th. Sadich responded for Real Salt Lake in the 51st with a shot from distance. But then it was Gutman again flying down the wing and putting it across that Acosta turned into his own net. And the Chicago Fire are your U-17-18 Development Academy champions. Well, for everyone at US Soccer's YouTube channel and Turbo Sports, I'm Mark Serber. We're going to stay with you and continue to look at these scenes as it's been an incredible weekend of play here. Chicago Fire waiting for that final whistle, and there's that moment. Jubilation. This is the moment that they've worked 10 months for. And well-deserved for the Chicago Fire in the end. And that man with some tremendous saves. The joy and the relief of a champion on the face of Sawyer Jackman. Give credit to Real Salt Lake, Arizona. Head coach Martin Vasquez, the USDA Coach of the Year. And then Salt Lake, AZ winning the Development Academy Style of Play Award as well. But in the end, they were unable to get past a very staunch Chicago Fire defense that picked and chose their times when to attack, and they chose them wisely. Worthy winners at the end. Chicago Fire, what a ride it's been for them. Squeaked by in group play after a 2-2 draw against the New York Red Bulls. Then won at Houston, a 4-3 thriller. Went to extra time against Montreal here in the semifinals on Thursday, but made much easier work of Real Salt Lake, Arizona tonight. In the regular season Mid-America Division champions are your U.S. Development Academy U-17-18 champions. The trophy is going to the Midwest. And we will have the medal ceremony and the trophy presentation for you here on ussoccer.com and the US Soccer YouTube channel. Pineda in the middle of those celebrations. What a week, 2 weeks it's been for him and Lindley, playing for the U.S. U-18 men's national team, and then coming right back to Carson and winning the U.S. Development Academy Championship with the Chicago Fire U-17-18s. Moments to savor for the Chicago Fire and their fans. Good shot of Mikey Jimenez, so prominent early on, scoring that opening goal in the 13th minute. will certainly get more chances with the Fire reserves and possibly their first team as well.
Your attention, please. I'd like to invite both teams to join us at midfield for the awards presentation.
So once
First,
again, the Chicago Fire are
I'd like
your
to thank our
US
fans in
Development
attendance.
Academy U-17-18 champions. A 3-1 win over Real Salt Lake, Arizona.
First, I'd like to thank all in attendance this evening for the final match. It was a well-fought game between two teams that had great seasons throughout. I'd like to first bring RSL Arizona players to results. Congratulations, gentlemen, on a fantastic season.
It's been an incredible season for Real Salt Lake, Arizona. Just their 4th loss in 10 months. Finishing with a total of 177 goals in 45 games played. And of course, the Development Academy Style Award for the U-17-18 age group. These players can be very proud of themselves. Many of them will go off to college next year. And some of these players will continue playing in this age group, and others will go up to the reserves in Real Monarchs SLC. And plenty of players on this side that have a possibility of turning out for Real Salt Lake's first team as well. Such tough moments. That's something you often see Sadic taking off his medal just as he received it. Danilo Acosta red carded at the end. So stellar, passing the ball out of the back. Acosta definitely a player to watch for the future. Just 17 years old, still so much to learn for Danilo Acosta. And of course, the coaching staff. Done such a tremendous job with these young men. And last but not least, the Development Academy Coach of the Year, Martin Vasquez. Just as humble in defeat as he is in victory. Graceful as well. Just look at the smile on these fires.
And now a
players'
congratulations to our U-17, U-18, 2014-15 Development Academy champions, Chicago Fire. On behalf of U.S. Soccer and the Development Academy, we'd like to congratulate you gentlemen and staff on a fantastic season. We have Director of Scouting Tony Lepore and Technical Advisor that oversees Chicago Fire, Brian Johnson, to present you your championship medals. Congratulations.
And these are the medals that I don't think players will be taking off for a long time. David Kovacevic. Jacob Ruth, backup keeper. Huge smile on the face of Jacob Graber. Something he can take back to Bennett Academy. And Mikey Jimenez, scorer of the first goal. Kurt Campbell did so well coming on as a substitute. Peter Shorop has something to take with him to Georgetown, as does Sierakowski to Michigan State. And now the coaching staff going before its three captains. Mauricio Pineda, member of the U-18 men's national team, and the cornerstone of the Chicago Fire defense. Sawyer Jackman with some tremendous saves tonight, and the captain, Cameron Lindley.
And now for the presentation of the U-17, U-18 Academy Championship Trophy from Tony Lepore to the captains of Chicago Fire.
The Chicago Fire are your U.S. Development Academy U-17-18's champions. Time to pass around the trophy, as once again they defeat Real Salt Lake 3-1. A grueling 10 months ends in glory for the Chicago Fire, the 2014-2015 U.S. Soccer Development Academy champions. Continue here at Glenn Mooch Meyernick Field, where the Chicago Fire have won the 2014-2015 U-17-18 championships with a 3-1 win over Real Salt Lake, Arizona. For everyone at U.S. Soccer and the U.S. Soccer Development Academy and Turbo Sports, I'm Mark Serber saying good night from Glenn Mooch Meyernick Field. The Chicago Fire, once again, are your U-17-18 U.S. Development Academy champions.